everybody, welcome back to Sharon Cullen Art. Tiny Tuesday tutorials are back. They were in high demand, so I am bringing them back. We'll see how long I last, but I'm hoping to continue at least for a while, and then I will continue to do my demos and those other things as well. I will be doing Tiny Tuesday tutorials in both watercolor and gouache, and maybe some pen sketching along the way, I'm not sure. But I will start today with watercolor. So let's get started. So first of all, get out your watercolor paints. I am using my Stephen Quiller palette. Now they make much cheaper ones out there, but this is the one that I got when I first started painting. I think my husband bought me this for Christmas like in 2013. And back then it was very expensive. Now you can get them for about $80, I think. These are ceramic, and it's about 10 pounds. When you wet your watercolor paints, first of all, don't be afraid to get them wet. Getting them wet is good. It softens them. It makes them a lot easier to work with. I like to leave a little bit of a puddle in them, and that way I don't have to wet them as often. I use this sort of a water bottle. This is one where you push it once, and let me put a rag in front of it. It continues to flow for quite a while. This is the palette that I will be using. And we're going to do a winter scene today. So I've decided, before when I was doing my Tiny Tuesday tutorials, I have a little book here of them. I get these at Blick. But these were some of the Tiny Tuesday tutorials I've done before. This was like a 4x4 inch square. This was like 4x6, I believe. Yeah. And so they just kind of changed size, either 4x4 or 4x6. So I've decided to use this mixed media book by Etcher. It's the 4x6 book. It's the mixed media, not the perfect sketchbook. They get dirty, but afterward, I just kind of paint over the cover, and they look just fine. So I'm going to use this book, finish up the pages that are in here, and I think it'll be the perfect size. You don't have to do this size, but I will be fitting it on, mostly on a rectangle format. I'm using this tape here, which is an artist tape. I think it's like a plastic coated tape. You can get it on Amazon, but this is, it's not quite a 1/4 inch, but it's bigger than an 1/8 of an inch. I'd say it's probably about 5 millimeters, but I'm not sure on that. So I am taping off all 4 sides of this just to give it a border. You don't need to do that. I'm using the number 6 silver black velvet brush here, and I'm using some warm yellow. I believe mine is New Gamboge by Daniel Smith, but I am not for sure on that either. I'm not near my palette to check it right now because I'm doing a voiceover and I'm not in my studio. So anyway, I had some leftover yellow on my brush, and I liked the way that looked for the background color, so that's what I'm doing here. Then I'm going to go in with a little more of the yellow and make some yellowish clouds all over the place. And I added a little bit of quinacridone magenta. I should have chose a pink. This isn't quite pink. And mixing it with a warm yellow gives it that kind of strange orangey appearance that I didn't care for. But once it's dry, it lightens up, and most of it's going to be covered by pine trees anyway. See how much lighter it got here. The only other brush that I'll be using aside from that number 6 is this number 1 script liner brush. And really that's not even necessary, but I'm using it just to put in some tree trunks for the pine trees. Later I may go down to a smaller size, a 2/0 script liner, to do some other trees and bushes. Now I'm just going to place a few tree trunks, just some straight lines going up. Most of it will be covered anyway, so it won't be seen. This will be one of our forward trees. Excuse me. and it's going to be a little bit darker. Now I'm going to put another one in behind it that won't come down quite as far. This will be a little more pale in the background because it's moving back into the distance. And then I'll be putting this one over to the right. This one won't come down quite as far, but will also be considered part of the foreground. If at any time you're having trouble keeping up, just pause the video to get caught up and then come back in with me, because I am editing portions of this out to shorten the video a little bit. Now this one's going to be further back in the background. It'll be much shorter and paler, so I'm just putting a pale line in there. Like I said, most of this is going to be covered. Whatever isn't covered up by greenery will be covered up by snow. Now when I'm doing this tree here, I'm going to keep it very watered down. You can use whatever green you have. I would try to make it look more like an evergreen type of green. You can add more blue to it, or if you have a little bit of Payne's gray, add that to it. Another nice color would be to use like a lemon yellow, a cool yellow with Payne's gray makes beautiful green. Now I'm going in again with my number 6 brush here. And for this green, I am going to add a little bit of Payne's gray into the green in order to kind of push it back a little bit more. And I'm watering it way down. You can see how much gray I've added to that and how it changes the green. And you don't need to put branches in here at the bottom. It's going to be so far back and there will be snow on it, so you can just keep it like that and it'll be fine. In fact, you could just paint triangles if you'd like to, and then put the branches in by putting the snow in later. Now take a little bit of that gray green that you have, water it down, and we're going to be putting this into the background in order to make some very distant trees. Now some of this won't even show because, like I said, the trees are going to go over it, but there are spaces that we will be having regular trees, tree branches, bushes that are going to show the background, and we need something back there. This will give it a kind of a heavy snow appearance in the distance. And once this is done, just let it dry before moving on. Otherwise, your tree branches on your foreground trees are just going to spread. Now we're going to go in with a deeper green for these trees that are close up. Just put some branches in. You just want to kind of scatter them around to keep them looking natural. Leave some spaces in some areas and then make them thicker, closer together in other areas. But like I said, whatever you do, it really doesn't matter because we're going to be putting snow over these, and you can actually make your branches with snow. And when you're bringing your branches down in the front, you want to bring them almost straight down like I'm doing here. Otherwise, you're going to have like little mustaches swinging back and forth for branches. And to make it look more natural, just bring them more straight down, maybe curve the edge at the bottom in the front, and that gives it a more natural appearance. Now we'll go ahead and do this tree on the left. This one's a little bit more in the distance. You can make it a little more faded if you'd like. When we get down to the midpoint here, we're going to only put branches on the left-hand side of the tree because the right-hand side of this tree will be covered by the branches on the tree that's in front of it. Then we'll move on to this other tree. On this, I'm putting more diluted watercolor on first, and then I'm going over it after it's dry with more defined branches. But again, it's not necessary because of the snow we will be putting on top of it later. Now if you go ahead and mix up a little bit of a brown black color for a tree, you don't want to use all brown or all black. If you needed to use just one color, Payne's Gray would work well. I mixed, I think, a brown oxide or oxide brown with Payne's Gray in order to get the color I used. And now I'm just taking my, I believe this is a number 4 round brush, and I am just putting in my branches, just scattering branches around, making small trees in the background. I'm sorry, my hand's in the way a bit here. It's hard to do this unless I have a side view from a camera, and I don't have that. So here you can see it a little better. Here I started to put in a bush, but I've changed my mind because I think we need to put the snow in first. Otherwise, I'm just going to cover it up, and I want it to be in front of that tree. So we'll come back to that. If you come way over to the right, though, we will go ahead and put a tree in all the way over onto the right side, just like the tree in the middle. For the snow, I'll be using Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White ink, but you can also use white gouache. That's just fine. I'm going to first, though, put in the shadows on the snow in the foreground. And to do that, I'm just going to use some Moon Glow by Daniel Smith. If it was sunny out, I would probably use a little bit of the sky color in the snow as a reflection element, but in this case it's going to be snowing heavy, so I'm just going to use the Moon Glow as a shadow, and you want to put that underneath the trees and then just in a couple spots where the snow could be piling up and you're getting a little bit of a shadow. One thing I didn't do here was to blend it out with a little bit of water. You can do that if you'd like, but I wanted more of a hardened
There's a lot
edge
more that I
so
could
that
have
it looked
done
like the
in
snow
order to
had
make
more
this
severe
more
drop-offs.
detailed,
But I wanted to keep it more toward the beginner side of things to make it easier for those that are just starting out, but still fun for everyone. But what I would have done is I would have put shadowing on the snow. I would have put more layering into the branches and shadowing on the trees and all of that. And I didn't bother with any of that. Now here's the fun part. Just start dabbing in your white paint or your bleed proof white and just go over the branches. You don't want to cover them completely, but where you think that the snow might land on a branch, leave some of the green showing. If you are using white gouache paint, just make sure you keep it thick so that when it dries, it isn't translucent and you see the tree through the snow, so to speak. Once we're all done putting the snow on the branches, then we'll go ahead and we will sprinkle snow on the picture to make it look like it's snowing. Then we'll go over to the one on the background, and we're going to make that one look a little foggier by diluting the bleed proof white ink. And the same can be done with gouache. If you dilute it just slightly, then it will give it more of a faded out or foggier in the distance kind of a look. And once that's done, then we'll go ahead and do the same to the left-hand tree in the foreground, make it a stronger mixture, and on that background tree off to the left, make it slightly foggier by diluting it again. And then the same for the trees. You want to make those have a little bit of snow, maybe in the crooks of the branches, or off to one side of the tree, not on both sides of the tree trunk, but only on one side, and make sure it's the same side for both trees so that it appears like the snow or the wind blew it onto one side of the tree. They're very thin trees, so the snow is going to be pretty thin and harder to see anyway. Oh, and we can't forget our little bush to put in on the left-hand side in the front of that tree or off to the side. I used multiple little trunks for the bush and just kept the branches kind of short and full And that is pretty much it. I put a few in the front of the other tree, and then we can go ahead and make it snow on the painting. There are several ways you can do snow. A toothbrush is a common way. The only thing I find with a toothbrush is that when I use a toothbrush, the snowflakes are so fine. On lighter backgrounds, they're hard to be seen. But I also use something called I call it a drafting eraser. You can get them through Staedtler. You can get them on Amazon anywhere. They're kind of a hard eraser on one side that can be sharpened. And then on the other side is like a long bristled brush. And that brush is my favorite for making snow because the bristles are long, so it really flings the snow well. And you can get bigger, that's what I'm talking about. You can get bigger flakes from it. But that's what I prefer to use. Everybody has their own way of doing it. You can also take a brush. I used a little silicone blender here at the end to pop little single snowflakes in with. And it was just a pointed blender. So anything, you could use a toothpick, whatever you want. Sometimes it helps though if you dilute the bulletproof ink a little bit in order to get it to stick to your eraser or your brush better. It's up to you, however you want to do it. There's so many different ways. And now here I'm just putting the remainder of the snow onto the trees there, and then we will call it finished. Well, shoot. Okay, that ain't gonna work. So I hope you all enjoyed my Tiny Tuesday tutorial comeback. I know it's been a few years, and I hope you enjoyed doing this first painting of 2026. Hope you enjoyed it. And remember, be courageous, paint with wild abandon, and most of all, be kind to each other. God bless you, you guys. I will see you next Tuesday for another Tiny Tuesday tutorial. Bye-bye.